Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. You can check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. And yeah, I was going to say some other stuff, but there's no point. No point in getting to that. What I was saying to some people here in the pre-show, the very brief pre-show that we have here on YouTube now, I was just talking about a productivity video that I've promised you guys for a very long time, close to a month now. I'm slowly working on it, and I should have it for you guys soon. I keep saying that. And what I thought was kind of funny after I was just vocalizing this during the pre-show is, oh my gosh, it's like it's a productivity video that's been promised for a while, so obviously you're not very productive, right? This goes into a whole thing about YouTube and videos and where do I want to divide my time? Where should I divide my time? And you guys may have noticed lately that there really haven't been much videos on this channel, at least not the way they used to be. There's very good reason for this, and hopefully you guys will understand as more stuff gets shown. And really, it's just I love to do the streaming and I love YouTubing, and I don't want to ever stop that. That's why I continue to do it, because it's fun for me, and you guys seem to enjoy it as well, which is great. But the not to cry on you guys, and I'm not going to ramble into this. We are going to start drawing soon, but there's only so many hours in a day for everybody, and I have to just pick and choose important, if you'll call them mission critical or goals that we all have, right? And for me, it's really the main drive for this year is to get Jessup King launched, and over the last week, 2 weeks, I'm going to talk about it while we're drawing. Things have just been falling into place where it's like, this feels good. There's less questions now, and it's just making the content, which is going to be great. So what does that mean? Well, that means I don't really have much time to edit videos and things like that, because I come home from the day job, just like everybody else, or your multiple jobs, and you've only got so much time, and life pulls you in other ways. I don't know if you guys have girlfriends, boyfriends, husbands, wives, friends in general, video, like online or real friends, right? Like there was a time when I pushed all that to the side just so I could study and study, and I'm still in that mindset, trying to break out of that and just go, you know what, I need to slow down a bit, stop spread myself thin everywhere, and just start appreciating the things that I have around me more so. This doesn't have to be for you guys or anything, but I'm just letting you guys know. So that means my time gets divided with my life. But I don't want to forget this stuff, and I don't want to ever stop it. And it'll come and go. It'll ebb and flow. But yes, somebody, Pillow just said, and I wanted to bring this up before we start drawing. I did post a video today. There's a Huion light pad. It's basically a light box. Just posted a video today, so you guys can, by the time this video, if you're watching it on YouTube, is up, it's already been on the channel. For the people here in the chat tonight, you guys can watch it now if you want, or if you want, you could watch it after this video. Very cool stuff, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Pillowhead saying, "Hey John, just watch your light pad video. I had one since Christmas, and love yours too." Awesome. Yeah, it's been great. It's been absolutely great for what I use it for, and being able to have, I don't know, light boxes sort of make things digital for me in a way, traditionally. So let's get to some drawing. So I just wanted to show this. I had it up here, but I took it down because I wanted to show you guys. Some people might not know this. Everybody comes into Manga Studio, and actually, yeah, we're in Manga Studio right now, not Photoshop, and I'll talk about that as well. Captain Flip Flop. That might be my new nickname. But one thing that some people might not know or whatever, Manga Studio opens up PSDs, which isn't groundbreaking or anything, but it's actually quite powerful if you do a couple of things. One, if you go back to old videos I had on my channel, when I was just learning Manga Studio, coming from Photoshop, I had a workflow in Photoshop that I enjoyed doing, and I talk about all the time the Freddy method. You can get it, the DC Comics Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics, where it's the line art, which we will be doing today, and I'm just used to that setting. But back when Manga Studio 4 was out, and that was like the new hotness, I enjoyed the inking in that a little bit better than Photoshop. It was able to like smooth lines and stuff, which is awesome. Which, that does help for some people that don't. Maybe you have a shaky hand or something. That stabilization is awesome. And other effects. So you can actually import your PSDs and ink over top, but I used to do that. And I just wanted to bring that up with you guys because some people, again, just solely Photoshop. I'm a big advocate of Photoshop as well, but there are certain things that I've been Jessup King and what we'll talk about today has sort of pushed me back into Manga Studio, more so than we'll see what happens once we get into like background work and all that stuff with like building faces, but it doesn't matter. The programs can be worked in tandem, and I will still say this: if you had to buy one over the other, I would highly recommend Manga Studio just for the cost alone. What you can do, there really is no reason if you're doing comic book work, coloring or otherwise. There really is no reason to own Photoshop. The only reason I talk about Photoshop is because that's what I grew up with, all the way back in around like 2000. Old man. Okay, so let's open it up here. I think it's this one, J King Pinup, and I just want to show you sort of what it looks like when it brings files in. And some of you might remember this, some of you might not. We'll just do a very quick overlay, very quick. So look, if you can tell, like it breaks all the layers down into the groups and all the stuff that we had. But what it's done, and this is just something that Manga Studio does a little differently. How big is this file? 400 dpi. Okay. We fixed the arm in the last one, but it made all the blue lines gray, and I believe we can just change that here. Maybe not, just because this is I don't. Or maybe we can. We can just click up here and turn that blue. Will that work? No. You don't want to work? That's okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to make a layer. I'm going to shift click down here and I'm just going to go layer, combine selected layers. What it's going to do is just merge all those layers into just one. That way I can turn it blue. We can still kind of see what we're doing. And this is just a little process video. We've been doing this last, I think, 2 weeks now. And hopefully we'll be able to get some mileage again tonight. That's just the way this kind of stuff goes. It's, pretty organic talking to you guys and stuff. This is just pinup promo work for the character. While sometimes I don't want to show comic pages that I'm working on for it, but there's always when you're making a product, which Jessup King hopefully will be one day. It's a webcomic period, so it's a product in that regard, not necessarily meaning to sell, but having images and artwork in your backlog, not for the comic, but for like materials to post online and marketing, advertising, like all these things that eventually will come from you wanting to share what you do. It's good to have a backlog of these characters. Plus, you're getting story ideas when you're doing this sort of thing too, right? So you guys are all familiar with this workflow by now. If not, very quickly, we're doing this very light line. It's almost like a micron. If you imagine inking like that, then we'll put a thicker micron outline around the character and all these other assets here, and then we'll ink it. And that'll pretty much be it. I'm pretty sure we'll color it as well. I think that'll be pretty fun. So this whole thing might end up taking like a month, just the way that this is all going here. And I just want to make sure that I'm catching up with what you guys are saying as well. Pillow's talking again still about the light pad. He has the smaller one. It's like the regular size piece of paper. That one's just as good too. Yeah. Jordan the cartoonist got one 2 weeks ago. Haven't used it much though. Yeah, it's definitely there's a guy that I recommend you guys follow named Joe Mulvey. He's more active, I notice, on Twitter, and he inks a lot of his own work. From what I can tell, he pretty much uses it daily for his comic book work. So it just depends, what you normally do with your work. Okay, yeah, no problem, Pillowhead. I do appreciate you willing to do all this stuff and all that good stuff, man. Thank you for all the. I don't mean to be the jerk client or anything like that. I appreciate it. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. Okay. Oh, cool. Right on. Kaioken Krillin, how's it going, buddy? He's asking, what's my video card? I have no idea. I have no idea what my video card is. I'm not a very tech-savvy guy, to be absolutely honest with you. So I apologize. If you guys can tell me how I can find out very quickly during the stream, I'll do that for you. Unfortunately, I really don't know. Jordan, how's it going? Joe Mulvey, Mulvey. And Donnie Drunkleton. Durden. I really have a hard time saying the last name. Awesome. Welcome. So let's get some drawing done. 10 minutes in and we still haven't drawn yet. This is getting stupid. Alright, so what were we working on here? We were working on these bird things. Okay, so one other thing I want to talk about while I draw, I'll definitely draw, is I went ahead and I had talked about it briefly that somebody hooked me up with, I guess, Ray Frendon's brushes. But I was watching some videos, and apparently, there's either I guess he just released a whole bunch of new ones or something, and I was just looking at them, and some other artists that I'll talk about in a second here, they were using them as well, and I just thought, oh my gosh, like there's some really cool brushes in here, and maybe I should get them. I don't know. So I went to the site, and it was like $15, and I'm like, why don't I have these yet? Not that I'm like just rolling in cash or anything like that, but it's just I think it's there comes a point where you should start buying stuff, especially things like that. If you support anybody on Patreon or Patreon, if you're one of my patrons, you know, uh, there's something to be said. Even if you use Manga, if you just download a Manga Studio, you download software. I get it. But there's a time when there's like it's such a low cost, and I know that's an objective thing. Like some people really don't have money, right? And I'm not gonna get into that argument, but the sales and stuff like there's a cost that comes with being able to do what we do, and maybe this just comes from me working where I work on my day job with video games and stuff, where there's a lot of people, a lot of time that goes into making stuff, and especially when it's digital, it's I don't know. It's sort of like if you want more of this awesome stuff that you're able to get, pay for it, you know? I'm not going to start criticizing people or anything. That's all to say I went to the Ray's site and I saw them. It was, again, they're like $15. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick it up. There's a lot of really cool things in there. And one of my other favorite artists, and I'll talk a little bit more about him today, Jersey Drozd. I'd recommend you guys check out Boulder and Fleet, like a rock boulder and Fleet, FLEET.com. It's a webcomic. And a lot of what he's doing has influenced where Jessup King's going to go. But yeah, anyway, I saw some brushes that he was using, like dry brushes and stuff, and it looked really cool. And I'm like, man, what? Like, I have some Frendon brushes, I guess, but I don't have those brushes. And I wanted to check it out. So I looked through there, and it was like, oh, there they are. They're all in this thing. So I just bought the package or whatever again for $15, which is I can put my seal of approval on there. I know a lot of the brushes in there I already had, but there's some awesome stuff in here that just make it. I don't have to. If you're a person that likes to noodle, and fiddle with brushes and stuff, you might not need them. You might already be doing a lot of that stuff. If you're somebody like me, I'd rather just be working. uh, it worked out for me, so it was really cool. But yeah, check it out. So anyway, all that was to get to the point of I'm trying to give this guy little cheeks or something. Put a little like he's eating. Even though it looks like he should be sucking this up. Maybe they just got a nose here. Like a hummingbird that's got a little tongue. Anyway, so I saw the brushes in there, and it got me just to mess around outside of Photoshop again. And there's just some really cool stuff. So all that's to say, back in Manga Studio doing what we're doing. And so Jersey Drozd, wonderful guy. He has, again, that webcomic that I talked about. I've been following his stuff, him and other people that he had on various podcast shows. Art and Story was a huge one that I talked about, or that I have definitely talked about a bunch of times. Let me just say this is Manga Studio software file. And I've just been following the guy. There's very few people that I've ever listened to in real life, like met and talked to, or even online. Like there's lots of comics podcasts. There's this my show here, which is very, like I don't want to say it's primitive. It's primitive compared to what some of these people are saying. But the way thank you everybody in the chat. I will catch up with you guys. I do appreciate the chat. But he has a way of really, and some people don't even care about this stuff, but I find it very informative. And if you listen to podcasts while you work from time to time, I highly recommend just giving anything Jersey does and anybody that he works with just a shot, just to listen to it and see if you get anything from it. That's really all that you can do. When you're trying to find this stuff. But the way he talks about comics and making you think about stuff and talking about the process and really the why of doing a lot of things, it's fun to listen to. And I've really been getting into how he decided to work on Boulder and Fleet. And one of the things with it, and this might get a little, it's I don't want to say it's against conventional wisdom or anything like that, but for me with comics, there's usually one size of a comic book page, right? 11 by 17. That's what I normally draw at. That's what I've always drawn at. Sometimes I've gone a little bit smaller to work on like a mini comic. But even the ratios of that, they're pretty much the same. Now, what Jersey does is, for his comic, it's square. It's this. It's just a perfect square. So if you imagine trying to draw pages of just squares, it might seem weird. The idea is that it's formatted, from what I understand anyways, the reason it was square is that way on pretty much every social media venue that you have that it's posted to, it'll fit. The biggest one being Instagram. Instagram is, from what I understand still, and I use it, it's just a square. So instead of just going to webcomic.com and checking out that your comic, his idea of I just want people to read it. That's the goal. I would like more people to read it. So if I can get more people interested on it just by sharing in what's it called, social media outlets, that's pushing the goal. And what that was all getting me to look at was, why am I making this comic? There's a lot of really cool things, like, okay, you get home from your thing, your job or whatever, and or you maybe you're a freelance artist, and you work from home, something. But there's personal projects that everybody always talks about, and you finding making time and all this stuff it's all over the place. It's chaos, it's energy that you might not have and all that stuff. But there's a lot of questions that come with that, and the more questions I find that I have to ask, the farther away I even start from even just working on any of that stuff, right? You can post rectangles now. Oh, really? Okay. I'll have to take a look. But I do appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, because like the idea is like most people, not most, but there's a lot of people with cell phones, and they look at their phones for content, not computers as much. I think us artists and stuff, we're usually at, you know, computers to do what we do, regardless if you're digital or traditional, and we can get a little mix of both. But the long story, just to sort of bring all this up, is for now anyway, Jessup King is going to be just a square comic. If I do ever want to print it, I'll worry about it then. I don't really care. Down the road, it'd be nice. But I'm following Jersey's model. A lot of what he says rang true to me, and it seemed very interesting, and it made a lot of smart sense of just being. I would like more people to know, like what I do, but as well as find that specific audience that would really get a kick out of like the Jessup King story, right? It's not super violent. There's not blood and guts. It's a very, I'm hoping anyway. It's a fun. Maybe you'd call it. I guess it'd be more appropriate for all ages. It'd be a little way of saying it. If you like Power Rangers, if you like Ninja Turtles, that kind of stuff is what I'm trying to aim for. And I think I definitely know there's an audience for everything out there, but I do think that a lot of people are looking for superhero stuff or just gritty comics, and I'm not, I'll save that for other people. I'm just trying to write fun things that when I come home I can kind of like I was looking forward to doing this video all day, whether you guys believe it or not. Just being able to sit down or stand, I'm standing right now, and just draw Jessup King, and it was like look what I'm drawing here. Okay, let's be fair. It's a big overly developed muscled guy with I don't know, a fruit of some sort in his hand, eating it while birds things are coming by and eating it too. What is this? This isn't like this isn't. I guess a lot of the stuff I would post on this channel of just superhero stuff, and I love all that. But I was very excited to just come home and relax, and I was doing a little bit of drawing before the stream, and it was wonderful. And I don't want to lose that. It's this sort of serves as like a nostalgia thing as well, because I get to just sort of listen to Power Ranger music in the background. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, of course. Not that was really the one I really got into. Put on some Ninja Turtle cartoons and stuff, and just stuff that I did when I was a kid. And it's I don't know. It feels sort of like I get to spoil myself with that. But I just wanted to share with you guys that. Check out Jersey's stuff. Listen to it. Uh, check him out on Patreon as well. He does a lot of, if you like how he thinks or the discussions he talks about, he's got content everywhere for you. So definitely check that out. And I hope you guys get something out of all of that. Let me just scroll up here, and I just want to make sure I'm catching up with you guys. And thank you for keeping this chat active. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, Tito. Great weight on the muscles. Appreciate that. Krillin, my pencil so far. Yeah, some people are sketching while we watch the show. That's cool. Oh yeah, no problem, Pillowhead. Yep. Matthew Hobbs is saying, I have no money. I don't even pay for my internet. My mommy does, and I'm 23. Whatever you got to do, man. Again, I don't want to criticize people. I think here's a quick one. Over the last couple of years, anyway, for me, I am not a guy that likes to buy like software. I don't think anybody really is unless you're a business. But there usually comes a point where you either buy stuff and keep the receipt for your business, or you work someplace for that. But there are certain things that come in at a certain price where it's like, you know what? You know what it takes to make stuff. If all you do is consume media and things, that's cool, you know. But I find the more you produce as opposed to consume, you sort of see it in a different light. Not that you're like, oh, I'm gonna pay for everything now. I'm not saying that. I don't want to go into that area, but there is something to be said, and you kind of, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I kind of feel it sometimes where it's just, you know what? $15, go ahead. Manga Studio, when it goes on sales, I've seen it down to Manga Studio 5. We're talking about here. I've seen it as low as like $25. That's disgusting. But this might go into like saving money for blah blah blah. And I don't want to go down that road. But just, I don't know. It's sort of like a, let's look at it this way for Manga Studio. If nobody paid for it, then there wouldn't be these updates. I don't even know, but maybe one day there'll be Manga Studio 6, which I'm assuming there will be, right? These things would never happen. And without that, by not saying, you know what, I enjoy this, please keep giving me more, without paying for it, this sort of thing. So you guys maybe have heard of Evernote. That's like all over the internet. I used it for, I think, a good month, trying to understand what the hell, why do people even use this? And it finally clicked when I watched some videos and how people described it, and now I'm a member there. I think I pay like the $30 basic one, so I can upload pictures and stuff. But that lets me do. It's a service that I'm okay with paying for, right? Todoist is another one that I use, and I pay for that as well. But it was like a domino effect. I had this huge wallop of saying I'm not going to pay for this stuff because I feel like I shouldn't have to because there's so many free things out there. But the things that these paid things do, generally, there's something about it. You're like, damn it. That's really cool, and I wish the free version had this, but I know why they don't. And eventually, it was like, okay, I'm gonna put money for Todoist, and that started knocking the dominoes over. Going, okay, now I'll get into Evernote. Okay, I makes sense. Friendin's brushes, same sort of thing, and all that. Da, da, da. Hey V, welcome in, bud. Dado Almedia. Hello. I'm saying hi, Jonathan. You're right. Jersey's original. Oh, I'm glad somebody in here has heard of Jersey Joe's as well. That's beautiful. You're right. Jersey's original idea was to publish Boulder and Fleet in Instagram only. Right on. And I know it sounds very weird. I think a lot of people. It's just a different workflow. I guess like there's a traditional get WordPress, get Comics Press or whatever it was called, make that site, and you can still do all that. So it's cool. Noah says he uses the free version of Todoist, still pretty good. Right on. And I'm going to show you guys all that stuff when I use that. Eventually, we'll get to that video I keep talking about. Fire Freak, could you do a quick layer by layer of this from start to current so I can catch up? Okay, sure, yeah, actually, thank you. I know I ramble like an idiot all the time, and all the videos I do lately are like, hey, let's... Oh, somebody did say this too. Hey, I love your videos, blah, 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 but, it sucks that they're an hour. I only really get. I understand. I watch videos too. Sometimes I'm only looking for videos that are like 2 minutes long, and I'm uploading hour-long videos. So I apologize. I'm just doing what I can do, and if you're watching, I doubt you're watching this, but anybody else, that's why. Yes, I am getting Street Fighter 5. It's been pre-ordered. I cannot wait for Street Fighter 5. Okay, and I'll actually probably be posting some of those videos. I'll stream them from my PlayStation onto the channel as well. I want to get pretty decent at Street Fighter 5, so we'll see how it goes. So the process. This is the general process. The initial part can be whatever you want, a rough or a blown up thumbnail, whatever you got. I'm just trying to find. How's this going to work? Okay. Trying to find a brush here that we can kind of do this. So imagine we're doing something rough here, right? So I'll just draw Joey stick figures, and he's real proud and excited. Awesome. And he's looking up. He's got a hat. I don't even know who this is. We give him a cape. Cool. Right? So you got your gesture or your rough, your thumbnail, whatever it was. I've got a hotkey that does that, but all I did was lower the opacity, turn it blue, so I can still draw on top of it. Okay? And all I would do from the next stage here is sort of like just tighten it up. And please take into account definitely the speed at which I'm doing this. This is just for instructional only. There's this stage here. There's a little in all of the stages coming up. There's a lot more love that goes into it than what we're doing here. So now his hands are going to get really weird. Whatever. We'll just put it here. Doesn't matter. Cool. Right. So give him a nose. His eyes will go here. His mouth. Okay, cool. So the next stage here is we go down here. Now this is the stage right now that I'm doing right now, which is sort of like if you ink in microns. And again, pick up the DC Comics Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics. Freddie talks about this method. And what you're doing here is imagine just picking the tight lines. You don't have to draw like this. Watch what I do with this nose. You see how slow we're going, and like I'm trying to make sure everything is precise. You do not need to go like that. What you're doing, again, you're trying to pick out the tight lines. You're not making final artwork, okay? And I do think that a lot of people, they get that, they mix that up with this because with digital, it's black in this case, right? And it feels like it's the end. This is, if I was working traditional with real tools, this would be the stage at which I can't go back, right? So this guy looks pretty goofy here. And what you're doing is, again, this is your tight lines, so we're going to be inking after this. And inking, you can draw in white, and that's the thing that takes, for me anyway, took me a long time to understand, because how you saw me drawing in the beginning, that's how I would normally do this method. I would go real slow and make sure all those lines are right, but lately, I mean, you don't got to go lightning speed, but you don't have to go, so slow that you're going to take forever. You can do whatever you want, but I just want to show you. I left this accident right here, and I'm going to show you why. So this would be like our tight line sort of thing, and the next thing we would do is we would just like increase the size, and you could use any kind of brush you like if you wanted like a certain width around the character. Now this stage would be a little bit better than what I'm doing. It's pretty much just drawing the outline of the guy or the girl or whatever the character is, right? So let's turn off all the layers we had underneath of it. And this is how it would look, and a lot of people are like, look at that, that is gross. That is disgusting looking. I don't like the way that looks, and I get it, okay? But what you would do here is, let's just make a new layer, and you would just draw like this, okay? Black and white. That's all you need, and that's all you get. And what you can do is you can zoom in, try not to get too crazy, and you would start inking, like you would ink like you normally would. You'd start fixing up all the lines that you don't like. Go as quick as you are, or as slow as you like. Because this is really where it starts to get into like, okay, this is where the final image is going to look, right? So if you look at that lip, it's all like kind of broken up. But if I bring in here with some white, I can start getting some really cool shapes. And some people, they just like to ink over. Like I think the traditional way of inking might not necessarily be what I'm doing right now. I feel like it's a little bit more of, okay, you buy a quill or something, or a brush pen, something like that, and you get your blue pencil or whatever kind of pencil you're using, and you go ahead and you get your rough sketch in there, and then when you ink over top of that, and that's sort of what I'm doing now. So it's a little different. So anyway, you see how we messed up all of this in here? That's fine. I'm just gonna draw in white. It's done. Look at it, it's fixed. You can go in here. You can change anything you want by just drawing in white. And that's something I don't think enough people really remember when they're doing this sort of thing. You can also make the brush pretty big, you know, like maybe we want some spot blacks in here. And this brush is kind of textured, so that's why it looks the way it does. So you go in there and just ink it. This is the stage where you ink. Turn on the music, do whatever you like to do. I think a lot of people, this is where I'm relaxing. I'm listening to a movie or whatever, maybe talking to a friend on the phone or something. Catching up on my Scribbles with Jonathan shows. No, I'm just joking. Right? And then you can go there and you do your rendering, whatever stage you want to do. That's it. And that's, this is really gross and dirty and stuff, but that's generally the workflow. Okay? So where we're at right now is this is the tight line art that we're doing, right? So let's just go back here. So yeah, I hope that helped you out. Hope that was sort of what you're looking for. Let's catch up in here. Am I familiar with DAB brushes? D-A-U-B? Am I saying that right? DAB brushes? I recently got the bundle so far. They're pretty fun. No, I haven't. Let me... D-A-U-B. Brushes. Are they from Manga Studio? Let's check here. DAB-brushes. Okay, it looks like there's quite a bit of goodies in here. Okay, thank you. So actually here, I'm going to show you guys something. Just a real quick sneak peek of... there's two programs you can use, Evernote or Todoist. And what I like to do is when I come up with things like this, I don't have time right now to look at it. Or when you're drawing, you know how you just, oh man, what'd be cool? I want to go see if Street Fighter V is out. What is the release date for Street Fighter V, right? And you might want to quickly just take a look. But with Todoist and stuff like that, and the ideology that I use behind this stuff is a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen. You guys can check online on there's tons of resources online. You don't really have to buy the book to learn the methodology. But the idea right now is I want to capture this so I don't forget it, right? And then I can come back and look at this on my own time or figure out what to do with this when I have time to sit down and go, okay, I'll look at this on the weekend. I'll look at this tomorrow. I'll read this now, that sort of stuff, right? And that's the stuff I'll talk in the other video. But when you have these things installed, you got the Evernote web clipper. If you like to use Evernote, that's free. Todoist has a free version as well. I don't know if this is in the free one, but all I need to do is click Add to Todoist. I don't even know if it'll show up in here. It showed up on my other monitor, but this little pop-up comes up saying Add it as a task. Right? So if I go here, and I apologize, I hope there's nothing on here that's weird. No. So if you look over here, right, like it showed up here for today. This is the thing I just had. So what I can do here is I can just schedule it, whatever. And on my inbox, these are all things that I have to look at. So again, when I come here, and this might seem like who has time to do this? But I'm telling you guys, if you start thinking or just trying this, I couldn't even tell you the amount of pros that I've had just in doing that. Remembering things, making a note to go check up on a friend, like a buddy that you haven't talked to in a long time. And you might feel like, it's an easy thing. I'll just email them right now. What are you talking about, right? Just want to say hi to a friend. But when you schedule things like that, it sort of like takes it off your brain. So I don't have to think about anything. I'm like on autopilot. I look at my list. What are the things I need to do today? And it's not a disgustingly long list. It's just a list, a chunky list that I hope I can do. And I just got to focus on that. All these new ideas, emails come in. They all just get put into Todoist. Everything gets dumped in there. And then once a day or once every few days, I go in there and I just start taking literally like 5 seconds per little thing you saw, 5 to 30 seconds each, going, deal with this tomorrow, today, next week, blah, blah, blah. Maybe someday later, read that later. Very easy stuff. Very easy stuff. And I don't forget it. And it just, I don't know. Anyway, let's try. Let's try. Fire saying, doesn't drawing in white impact your coloring process by leaving white as, yes, it definitely does. What I do, however, the way I color is, and I did close this, and I apologize. Let me just actually open something else and I can show you guys. And by all means, guys, if you guys have any questions on it, on like the process of how I do things and stuff, please just go ahead and Drop them in. I don't know if this is the one I'm working on right now. Yeah, it is. Okay. So let's go over to a colored one. So, in the DC Comics Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics, Freddie talks about saving files in like stages and processes, and I've really gotten accustomed to that workflow. It's sort of it's natural now to a degree. Whoops. So in this here, this one, this pinup that we've already seen a whole bunch of this, right? I just want to show you what I'll do is I'll end up. You can just change the drawing layer to multiply, and the white and the black don't even matter anymore. You can just draw underneath of it, and you'll never even see it. The other thing is if, let's say, you're sending your art to a colorist, if you're just the artist, right, like doing the inking or the penciling, the inking anyway, you usually always want to send a flattened image. It's just one black and white piece of artwork. So let me just turn all this off here to show you. Let's actually put all these into... Right. So here you go. You can see like this is how I was working it. There's a reasons why he's white in here because I was editing and erasing. Right. Like look, if you can see, this was an erase. This was an erase. There's all this erasing stuff. Right. But the thing is, once I turn, if you look, the layer's on multiply. If I put it on normal, right, and we're gonna start coloring here. This is what you were saying is going to happen. You're like, oh my god, look at all the white. What the hell is going on? But as soon as you just change it to multiply, problem solved. That's it. That's why, and I mean at the same time, drawing with white for me, like you can go into the settings of Manga Studio, and I kind of have a lot of the settings set up like Photoshop. So if you look right here, if I press X, it just goes back and forth between foreground and background color. So when I'm drawing, I just hit a button or a hotkey on my thing, as opposed to, I guess, hitting the eraser, which is the same sort of thing. Again, the workflow that I do is pretty much copied right from Photoshop. Yeah. So I hope that helped. V Sync, John, any? Oh my gosh, there we go. No, I'm not using a mouse. No, I'm using a Cintiq, a 12WX. It's the small one. I couldn't do this with a mouse. I'd break my wrists. John, any chance you'll be doing a Q&A video in the next couple of decades? I had some things interested in asking. Oh my god, you guys are reading my mind. As you can tell, the channel, everything's like long-ass videos. But yes, questions and answers video will be coming soon. Yes, if you want, you can send me an email. Just head to my website, contact me, see any way that's on there, and just send me a link that way with any of the questions you got. Or if you had something you could ask tonight as well, and if I can help you out, I'll try to do that too. Have I done a video on lettering? No, not really. I'm not. I mean, I have an idea of how to letter, but I'm not a professional letterer. Again, one person I'd highly recommend, Jersey Droz. Check him out. Comics are great. I believe is his YouTube channel, or just Jersey Droz, Drozd. He has courses on. He's very passionate about lettering, as a matter of fact. Yes, I am using the 12WX right now. Hello, Tim. Hey, John. I'm new to your videos. Just wondering, are you using a Cintiq or Intuos type tile? It's a Cintiq. Yes, it's the small guy. I don't have the big one. I do have a large one from Huion. It's a different company, and I use that at my day job. It's a little different. I have a whole review section on that as well. Yeah, but I am trying to save up for a bigger Cintiq. Most likely the 21-inch UX. It's the same model as what I have right now. It's an older brand. That's what I see a lot of people still using. And I don't want to spend for the HD stuff. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I do apologize. There's a lot of there's I don't mean to have rules on things. I don't mean to make it sound. If you guys have any questions or anything, by all means, please ask it. This is for you guys as well, so good to go. Yes, thank you, Dado. Thank you. All right, so let's get back to this here. One thing I had forgotten to do, or actually I didn't forget, was obviously he's naked here, and we don't want that. Let's finish his foot. I'm going to finish his foot. But he has... I'm going to put him in some... casual clothes, I guess you'd call it. So I'm going to zoom out on this one here. And like I said when I was showing you guys, like if you look, there's a lot of like gaps and stuff. All that can be cleaned up. Some people really don't like this way of working, and that's cool. You gotta find what works for you for sure. So I forget. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up. There was like this casual shirt. I think it was just a regular shirt that I had him wearing once. I don't know which one. I don't know if I have it here. I'm just scrolling through. No. Okay, we'll just make it up. It's not like it's an elaborate costume. It's just like a shirt. I feel like this thing is too small. Here, this brush. Okay, and let's get the sleeves. These massive arms here. Now we're gonna add a little bit of a stretch in the fabric, but when I get to the inking, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna like kind of draw over some of these things, because like he's got like this disgustingly huge triceps here. It does look weird, but I mean whatever. It's kind of fun. A lot about this character that doesn't really make too much sense. Like we'll never see his mouth. I know I've talked about that. I like the idea of it just being a mustache. And something to remember too, whenever you guys get to inking and coloring and all that good stuff. Actually, what the hell is going on with this? Let's start that over again. But whenever we're going to get to the coloring, a lot of the inconsistencies you might see in your line art, they go away pretty quick when you start adding coloring or even just shading. So I really wouldn't, don't get too heated over it. Jordan saying I'm actually thinking of selling my 12WX and just sticking with my small Intuos. There's Freddie Williams, the guy that even wrote the DC Comics Guide. That book he uses, I believe, still a bamboo, which is like less pressure sensitive than the Intuos, right? But then again, it's my understanding he's not doing any coloring. He's just doing line art. And you don't really need pressure sensitivity when you're doing inking and stuff. So I guess that's one thing to remember. I should point out to you guys as well because I don't think a lot of people know that. They just hear tablet and they think just Intuos because they're an artist and it's got more pressure sensitivity and stuff. But that's not, in my experience too. It's not true. You can get just as good quality with like really cheap tools, especially if this is all you're doing. If you're doing this with like even minimal coloring, I think you're fine. I've never personally noticed the difference with like that extra sensitivity. There's so many settings digitally nowadays that you can fix all that stuff. But that's not to say don't get it. You know, there's you gotta try what you like for sure. Oh, he did get into us. Okay, cool. No, I have not visited the UK. All the pressure sensitivity is wasted if you have the touch of a gorilla. Actually, here, let me show you guys. This I believe comes with the bamboo as well. But right here, you can actually change. Like if you've got, if you draw with like you're chiseling like I do, and I had to really start laying back on it because it hurts my wrist and stuff. But you can just change this, the tip feel. It might not be perfect, but it definitely gives you a little bit more range when it comes to like how hard you're carving into something, so you can still get some nice line art. Give that a shot. Give her a try. All right, so he's got a shirt on, great, but I want to give him something here that's gonna. I mean, the mustache should be enough to tell people that he's Jessup, but I do like. Let's try this out. Going to give him just a small shoulder circle here. That's one of his things that he's kind of got on his costume. And I like the idea of, since we're going sort of Power Rangers-ish, maybe we can put like a communicator, if anybody knows what the hell those are. Because he doesn't have his suit on. So if he's needed, maybe we'll get in contact with him. And we're just designing stuff. Remember what I said at the top here? This is one of the benefits of making little pinups and stuff for your characters, doing character things. So you can start to just design ideas and sort of find out the character. Like, I might not keep this at all. Who knows? But in the context of this, it makes sense. And it's something that could turn into something. And that alone makes it worth it. Alright, let's see if this works here. No, that perspective's wrong. Is it F8? There we go. Turn the opacity down so I can just erase here. Just a quick way to make some straight lines. Although I guess making straight lines itself probably would have been fast. But sort of block stuff out behind it, which is cool. Jordan, yeah, I got the 12WX over a year ago, and I only used it a handful of times. Enjoy working on the Intuos more. No, I've heard people say the same thing. You're not weird or anything like that. Some people like having that hands free. You get used to working with an Intuos, right? Now I see the stole like an artist. His mustache idea on my latest. There you go. How many people are old enough to remember to know Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? I don't even care, to be honest. It's for me. I hope people know about it. I know a lot of people are probably like, it's stupid. Well, to know that Voltron was better. Oh my gosh. Hey, here we go. It's time to get heated. All right, so let's find the liner layer that we had underneath here. We can just erase it. Kind of like the idea of something like this on them. Sort of feels weird and out of place, but it's kind of cool. Let's zoom out. Yeah, it's simple enough. Looks like it might be something. I don't know. All right, so we got that. What else is he got? He's got the spandex pants on, I guess. Let's sort of like design some stuff here. And I want to at least get some. Man, this is taking. I might not. I might skip a video and go right get this ready for inks for next week. Because there's only so much of this just like pale line art that even matters after a while. All right, do we give him? I don't even see. This is a whatever. I was gonna say the problem with designing on the fly, but that's not a problem. We can get some really fun stuff by doing that. So we're gonna give him some boots. They look kind of weird just walking around with like white boots, but it's okay. And I want to have another, like a stripy pattern kind of coming like this. Maybe bunches up here and around there. I'll get one on the inseam. So it's actually here. I'm gonna group all this stuff here. I'm getting layer happy here. Lines, just so I can turn this off. See what we're looking at. Let's save it up. Tito is asking, which artist inspired you to draw big guys? Joe Madureira was somebody that when I saw his art for the first time, it was just so different and it was crazy. Everybody had these giant, thick necks. It was just awesome. What else? Like that's the only person that jumps out at me. Who else? A lot of Capcom artists. So Street Fighter, Darksiders, Darkstalkers, not Darksiders, Darkstalkers. Just a lot of Japanese artists that were just drawing in a stylized way, which I wasn't used to seeing. That's the stuff that got me into this. I mean, nowadays, I mean, like this is pretty ridiculous, but there's a lot here I can see that's like, all right, he's falling in on himself of muscle. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. Yeah, Ed McGuinness. I found his stuff later. He seemed to me, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but like he's in the Joe Madureira camp, like all of us, and he found a way to I don't want to say cutify, but make it more soft than how Joe Mad was drawing, at least in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, his art is great. But that's really about it. I think Dale Keown. I like the way he drew the Hulk. I got a pit poster. Just like I used to draw these guys with like if this was here. Let me show you. If I was back in the day or whatever inking this stuff, you guys probably seen it. I would start shredding these muscles. Like he's getting toned, right? Like all these muscles are coming in like this, and just everybody's ripped all the time, and it looks cool. I love it. But nowadays I know it's part of my day job that's had me change the way I see things. I'm more interested in shape. Like this is all like this arm. Once we get into the inking of it, once we make this pop up over everything else, it won't look as much of a hot mess. I'm hoping, right? Like even that alone just makes it seem right. Like he's okay. So it's starting to make a little bit more sense how this anatomy is working. When you're using just this dead line, it can look a little bit like where's his arm, you know. So yeah, no, that's I don't even really know if that answered your question, but I hope it did. Rector Con, yeah, I know. I have no idea. I know it's a fun idea, but I'm not sure when that would ever happen. Jordan's asking to add to Tito's question: do you ever find it difficult to tone down your muscular style when it comes to drawing, say background characters? Yes, yes, I very much do. That's why where I sort of ended up going there with what I was saying was I'm pulling away from all the shredded muscles nowadays. I'm trying to go for shape because like let's just say we've got Jessup here, and where do we have our what's one of the inking tools here? Is this one? Yeah. So we have him, but we've got like some people sitting on some rocks behind him. It doesn't make sense to go like in when I'm doing the gesture work to go like, okay, where's all the shoulder muscles in this guy? There's the waist and these that doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is to what's the shape of this figure in the distance, like is it just I know it's very simple, but that looks more interesting to me than how I would ever work before. It's like, okay, let's get like a skinnier cat up here, I mean, this version's really off in the distance, but that's more interesting. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've been sharing stuff on social media or just online for a very long time now. And cartoony stuff always gets, and it could just be my style. People don't like the way I draw these steroid people, right? But cartoony stuff that I post, I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10 always gets more feedback, interaction, and likes, if that means anything. And I've come to the conclusion that just means people like things that they can understand. Cute things are a little bit more approachable. So knowing that, I try to. I mean, even still, this guy's ripped all hell, but I just like drawing that. But his face and stuff. Normally, I would go in here and render a lot of stuff. There's not as much lines anymore, and One of the other added benefits is I get more done. So there is that as well. So let's make another layer here, and we're just going to hammer in a really quick background. It's one of the benefits of drawing organic rocky backgrounds and stuff. You don't need any perspective really, and you can just start placing shapes, just build it up. Because we're going to worry about all these things when we get to it. We don't need to right now. Oh, Dado, if you can remember, please share. So we've got about a couple minutes left for the show, guys. So I want to say thank you. And before we go, I will just say if anybody has any questions, because I did notice you guys were talking a little bit about that. If you guys have any questions or need help with anything, by all means, please jam it in, and I'll do my best to answer before we go. This thing is really bugging me here because it's not following the perspective it should. So let's fix this. So his arms come in here. Even that's got to get lifted up. Cool. And I was going like way up here, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to wrap it around this way. And that looks a little better. Oh, another app, if you guys like apps, who doesn't? Check out, if you're not, Tapastic. Tapastic. Really kick-ass app. It's like, if I can anyway, I gotta do some research on it. But I'll be posting Jessup King and stuff on there too. But it's sort of it's what I like. It's like web comics on your phone. You know, like I feel like I can jam through a lot more content that way as opposed to ever having to go on your phone and stuff like that. So you made it in the tail end here, Ben. Since I don't have to edit these, well, the time still is the time. So let me tell you this, guys. I've started, and I'm trying my best to wake up early. And you guys have heard me talk about this before, but just early enough that I can do some exercise before going to work. And I know it might sound like, why would you ever do that? And it was a little experiment that I was doing for a few days before my days off. And I was noticing, just by doing yoga in the morning for like a half hour or whatever, productivity and energy was insane for the rest of the day. You go to bed earlier, right? Like, so what I'm saying is in about an hour after the stream, 10:30, I'm in bed. Let's start doing some old man hours. But I get an extra 2 hours before going to work that I get to do this stuff. So the time is still the same, but it's sort of like you get more energy in the beginning of your day before giving it to somebody else, or expending all of your energy somewhere else. So when you come home, all you want to do is relax. It's hard to you push yourself when you've expended everything you got, right? So so far anyway, it's been pretty productive. It's just been some pleasant surprises. So if you guys are interested, I highly recommend checking it out. If it's 2 a.m., oh man, I'd be done. You like YouTube for? Which anatomy book would I say has been the most valuable? When I was first learning, what I got the most out of, there's two. Everybody recommends them. Andrew Loomis, anything by him. I think it's figure drawing for all it's worth, or I believe that's what it's called. And then there's a George Bridgman book. I forget what that one's called. It's a thick book, very blocky characters, but it taught me perspective with how muscles work in chunks. A lot of anatomy books, you'll see like it's like they rip the flesh off, and you see all the sinewed muscle, and you'll see like a front view of the arm with a flexed fist. Then they'll turn it sideways. What the Bridgman book did was it broke all those down into chunky shapes so that you can at least see in your eye, have the understanding of how muscles act when they're flexed and moved without worrying necessarily about all the mini sinewed muscles. All that, you don't even need all that stuff. Um, Recently, over the last few years, Figure Drawing, Design, and Invention by Michael Hampton. That's been a tremendous book as well. So those are the 3 that I recommend. If you're looking for style, just look at who you like and just copy what they do and try to break it down and understand it. And you can bring that into your work. And with that, you guys, thank you for the few questions that we had at the end there. I really do appreciate it. And everybody that stopped in today, I really appreciate you guys stopping in. Like I said, today, if you're watching the posted video anyway, you probably have already seen it. But if you're in the chat tonight, I uploaded a review today of the Huion light pad. It's a light box. For those of you that enjoy some traditional art in your workflow, check that out. It might be something you're interested in picking up. Other than that, head on over to patreon.com. I've got lots of goodies up there for you guys. I will also be sharing something with you guys next month, but right now it's Patreon exclusive. For those of you that have asked for this to come back, we're going to bring that back next month and all that stuff. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share, send it to your friends, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to let you guys go, let you get back to whatever it is that you guys are doing. And I hope whatever art you guys are working on has been very awesome for you, and you haven't been having too many troubles. And if you're like me, hopefully you're getting a few little nuggets of awesomeness throughout the week that just make you go, oh, man, I can't wait to get home to work on my stuff. I really do hope you guys are getting a chance to do that. So you guys, I will see you next Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.